Hello, Dwayne. Hello, everybody. The UK crew are standing by, and so I greet you all and welcome you most warmly. And I'll begin by passing the mic over to Gwen, who, for a wonder, has a dream to share.
Right, first of all, can everybody hear us? Because Kevin's got a new computer and it's just been set up. So we weren't sure whether everything was working properly.
It's excellent. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah,
okay, right. My dream is a very little one. We've been away for a few days and I had a load of dreams. Most of them I've forgotten, but this one was quite striking because I was dreaming that I was with a bunch of people and most of them were ill and people were going, what shall we do about it? And then somebody in the dream said to me, you should learn crystal healing. And it was quite strange because it's almost like I came out of the dream but wasn't awake. And I'm thinking to myself, where am I going to get this information from? And then I remember the website that covers a lot of this. They run courses sort of online and things like that. So I thought, I'll do that. But then that's the end of that particular bit. But I was talking to Kevin about it because Kevin's sort of, very helpful. And he sort of said to me, this is what he thought, but his words are slightly more involved than mine. So we were wondering, or I was wondering, it seems that people or somebody is trying to sort of push us into doing things that are going to make us tap blind and sort of trying to make us do this and that and the other that we've sort of never thought of before, but sort of messing us up a bit, if you see what I mean. That's not quite right.
Well, no, that's fine, Gwen. Again, keep it simple. The thing is that, so we're all here doing what we're doing, discovering what we do. It's kind of like, the food you eat and the vitamins you take, etc. Things are, in a way, they're a hint until you figure them out, see if it's for you. Sometimes you'll use something like that, like I've used antibiotics a couple of times in the past because of what I went through, certain attacks, etc., and was even in the hospital. But from there, I learned that no, I won't take them anymore. But maybe just kind of check it out and see where it goes. Maybe that's something for you until you become aware enough that you don't need it. Also, you see, so. Now, I've spoken about these things before about healing and stuff, and there's a give and take with everything. And what happens many times is that people just what they do after a while, just like you talk to your friends, they have their doctor and they like to talk about their doctor, and it's like, oh, my doctor said this, and my doctor said that. The reason into this healing aspect and all these things is that, most people can figure it out for themselves, but they get in the habit of letting other people decide for them. So as long as you do that, how are you going to free yourself from this place? So this is also when you go through these things, sometimes you do, just like when I was in the hospital, I was knowing effect. I dealt with it. I'm sure there were tap lines and entities there. I saw them because of all the Wi-Fi, etc. I mean, you're not going to get squeaky clean with anything. You're on a planet that's poisoned and full of reptilians everywhere. This is a dark place, even though it looks okay. So, again, you're the experiencer. You decide to, test it out, experiment with these things, and see where it goes. And through it, you'll become more aware. See, one of the things that is very important for us to learn in creation is that what we don't need and what isn't real to us. So along those lines, we experience certain things, and then we get an objective view. It's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to do that again, etc. Something along those lines. But again, it'll transform itself and come along. So, that's a personal choice. There. And maybe those sickly people, maybe they did use the crystal healing and they did get tap lines. So, you're the experiencer. You take the risk and see what happens next.
Okay, right. Thank you. I'll have to sort of give that a thought, but Kevin's sort of good at explaining things, and obviously so are you. So I've got a lot of information. Thank you. Right, are we Peter now? Peter?
Pass it on.
Pass it on to Peter. There you go, Peter.
Yep.
Okay, right, good.
Hello there, it's Peter. That's right.
We gathered.
Oh, we shouldn't
I
laugh.
thought I'd make that clear.
Sorry.
Right. Hello everybody. Right, 3 fairly short and probably boring dreams I've had over the last few weeks that seemed worth sort of mentioning because they were a bit odd. Right, first one only took place a couple of nights ago, and the action, so to speak, seemed to be before I was married, because in the dream I'd arrived at Gwen's parents' home to pick her up to go out, and to be confronted with Gwen talking to her mother, and her mother was in the process of saying something to the effect of, "Why'd you say that to me?" In her hands she was holding 4 strange disc-shaped objects about a foot in diameter and greyish in colour. These discs actually reminded me by their shape, though not their size, of the metal road wheels I used to have in my Meccano set as a boy. I don't know if you have in America, but it was a wonderful construction set full of all sorts of bits of metal and things that you could make all kind of things with. And these road wheels were about 3 inches in diameter, but it was the same sort of shape as those, which are kind of a bit of a convex kind of a metal thing, and a rim that was sort of painted black to suggest tyres. Anyway, that's not real there really. So that was really the dream as such, as far as it goes. So I'm trying to think about afterwards what on earth it could mean. As there were 4 discs in the dream, it did seem to suggest wheels, although it is possible by their shape also to see flying saucers. But either way, to me, it seems to suggest travel of some sort. Maybe I'm going to a trip or something, or even perhaps passing over soon, who knows. But there again, as it was Gwen and her mother that was sort of involved in it, I was more or less the onlooker. Or rather hope that isn't that last isn't the case. But talking to Kevin about it, he thought they might be symbolic of the wheels of karma or something like that. But perhaps we can have your take on it, please.
What was it that she said to you again? What was it?
Well, she wasn't actually speaking to me. The mother was just saying, "Why do you say that to me?" So I didn't hear what had been said previously, so I've no idea. But it's presumably some kind of an accusation or insult or some sort. But that's all I heard.
Yeah, well, the idea is that, see, she's saying after the fact, so that means that something was already said. You hear what she's saying. Why are you saying that to me? In other words, an example would be, okay, so she's got these things, you see them. An example would be that, those are hers. That's her personal stuff. And you could be, an alternative view saying something that's like, well, why do you hang on to that or whatever? And you don't really need it or something like that. And then she's saying, well, why do you say that to me? Do you get it? You kind of figure out the script, etc. So, but again, a lot of these things are just passing little things, but maybe there's something there. So again, you look at her mother, if she's still here at that time or whatever. So again, usually people, for the most part, they have all these attachments and they have all these ideas about themselves and they carry them around. And on the real side, what they're doing is it kind of, like you might say, physically displays itself. They're displaying their attitude. And so in a way, it's kind of like, well, you don't agree with, what I'm doing or thinking or what have you. So something along those lines. Just imagine what would be said previous to that. So I've had experiences and I've heard other people having things like that. And an example of one is a person who was with us, and when I first met him, within the first year, he had this example where he was in a hotel room, and it's like one of those hotel rooms where you go and you have a party, and the beds are messed up, and then all of a sudden there's a woman with 2 children standing on the other side of the room, and she's saying to the guy, "Why did you do it?" You see, so again, it's looking at what is it that preceded that, and the idea is that the hotel room showed that the party was over. And I told this person that this is a warning to you, and that is that you're going to make a choice someday, and the party's going to be over for you because of the choice. And I told him this, and you know what? He still made the choice, and the party was over. So it's kind of seeing what precedes that. That gives you the hint. You see?
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Second dream, occurred actually several weeks ago. I was in some sort of kitchen, as far as I could make out, and I was looking at a quite small stack, maybe only 2 or 3, in fact, of what was apparently edible items. They were large square things, about 2 foot square and about an inch thick. Sort of, resemble more than anything flapjacks in colour and texture. And I guess that's presumably what they tasted like. I don't know, but and I was looking at these things, and there was a woman standing there. I don't know who she was. Couldn't even be my mother, but I wasn't certain because I couldn't see her. She's sort of off to the left of the picture, as it were. And she was saying that the top one of these things was not quite right. It lacked some ingredient or other. So I broke off a small corner and tasted it, and I had to agree it wasn't right. And that was really the end of the rather silly dream. And thinking about this, it occurred to me that the stack could represent the various life levels, or some of them, and was intended to say that I hadn't yet completely made the grade to move up, which is slightly depressing, especially if I am about to find out, as that was a dream might suggest. And going by the smallness of the stack didn't exactly suggest much progress on my part. So I should be grateful for your feelings on that.
I like you kids how you talk about this. So what? There's many views on the same subject. There's many views. So again, I see them as ideas also, because you're making them. Did you make the pancakes? Is that what you did?
Wasn't really clear from the dream. They were sort of standing there. I guess I must have made the last one because there was something wrong with it, and I was being sort of pulled up about it. So
Right. Well, see, these are also like ideas. You're making them. So we make up ideas and we figure things out. So you and Kevin talk about this. Kevin has good viewpoints on these things. And because, see, he's very close to you. And these things are really personal, more personal in creation. And so, as your family is all together and everybody's there, you see each other in these different things, you see. And so this is where you can learn to figure out things for yourself too, which is very good. But yeah, it's probably that, one view is that you've already created these. Now you're on the last one. See, when you're on the real side, you're skipping to the main part of it, really. So it's like if you're going to go somewhere on the real side, you're at your house for one moment, and all of a sudden, boing, you're there at the bank. All the in-between stuff, unless it's important and something's going to happen, you just skip all that. So you've already got this stack of whatever you made, and now you're tasting the last one, and you decide, there's a view there if it's coming out the way you like, if it's an attitude or something like that. Or it could be the different levels, but I kind of more see it as ideas stacked up, you see? And all of a sudden, it's like you make a bunch of pancakes. So you're thinking that, oh, I'm really hungry. And in the physical sense, and you do 5 or 6 or 7, but then all of a sudden you start eating them, and you only get a couple bites and you're already full. The thing is that on the real side, what I see is that these are ideas that you've created, and it's a lot to swallow. But you decide. What did Kevin say?
Right, okay. Well, that's
We'll
interesting.
put Kevin on the spot here.
Kevin, what do you think, mate?
Well, I'm just getting a glass of water. What was that?
Did you try these pancakes, Kevin?
Oh, no, I don't think I'd ever try anything that was cooked by his hand, to be honest.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, scary stuff. Yes, I get it. Okay.
Nice, isn't it? Yes, okay. Right. Last one. Another dream from a few weeks back. They're still fairly few and far between at present, but it's another one that seemed. Well, it's interesting actually in a way about what you were just speaking about travel, sort of instant, sort of missing things out, instantaneous almost. But I seem to be up north somewhere in the UK, more northerly than where we are here. In other words, at some kind of a theme park. I was amongst a number of people I didn't know, sort of milling about, and then we went up some steel stairs up to an awaiting kind of overhead small train. We've been on things like this on holidays over the years, and found seats, and then the things. It's sort of an open carriages they had kind of thing. Well, they had roofs on them, but the sides were all sort of open air. And we sort of found seats and plonked ourselves down. And then it started to move away. But as soon as it did that, because the light was starting to go, by the way, it was getting darker and darker. And then the train was all sort of lit up inside, so I could see the people in there, put it that way. And suddenly it moved, and almost instantaneously we stopped. We'd all got our destination. The thing was, I don't know how I knew this, but I was aware of the fact we were now right down the south of England. We'd gone about, I'd imagine, about 200 miles almost instantaneously, and it's totally dark by now. And looks as though we'd sort of travelled instantaneously. And this sort of reminded me now what you were saying about just sort of fitting in what you were saying about in the real side of sort of missing things out, sort of getting to one place to another instantaneously. So it seemed rather timely. And that was it really. And,
well, again, I like to hear Kevin's, but my view on that would be, in other words, you went to an amusement park, right? And you were walking up these steps, and you were going to get on this little train. Well, and I know what you're saying. They've got different ones in amusement parks, or little trolleys that go around and around. And what do for the most part? You get on them. It's an amusement park where people amuse themselves, right? This is the basic idea in creation. People like to amuse themselves. In other words, they chase thrills. They want to do something where they giggle and they're happy. This is the whole idea, etc. We chase happiness, and the train itself is like. It's like just going around and around, isn't it, at an amusement park? That's kind of what creation is. And so you have a little taste of that, then all of a sudden you're someplace else. So in other words, that's a view. So you're looking at that view. Now, if I was to look at that view, and it was my experience, I would see that, oh, okay, this is an amusement park, and I've been on this ride before many times. And you know what? I don't want to go on it again. So all of a sudden you're somewhere else too. And I'm not sure what you said about that, but you, as the real you, is skipping around. Also, the boys are taking you, just like a school tour where you go on a field trip or something. The teacher's taking you. The boys are taking you on a little tour of all these different places and things, and showing you viewpoints, but you decide from those viewpoints. Now, some people, all of a sudden, I don't know how you felt, okay? Because here's where feelings come in. It's like, some people get all excited. Oh, let's go on the little train here, especially kids. And let's just go round and around and around. Oh, gee, this is fun. See, they're all thrilled. They're all happy. They're all emotionally, attached to the idea that, oh, this is a thrilling ride. See, they're fine with reincarnation. They're fine with going around and around and around. I would say look at your position with that, because that's going to reflect upon you if you're happy to stay in this amusement park. But again, the boys are taking you different places and showing you different things. And just like the pancakes, you're in this scene, and yeah, again, I see that as your ideas of things. So you decide. So this is where it's very important to, first of all, figure out why you came here. And do you have a purpose, more so than a career and a job? Okay, because that's a dead end thing. That 9 to 5 thing, yes, you're just going to die old and come back and reincarnate. But figuring out a purpose here, and then a real purpose is standing real with the all is. But you have to decide that. You 100% have to decide, because it's not going to show up. Also, it was daylight when you got there, which is, you're seeing it from the personal view, but all of a sudden it's nighttime, which is the darkness. So you're really in the dark with it, aren't you? So again, you decide. The boys are taking you around. They're giving you the tour, and you decide, what you want your life to be. So this is why, again, I've set up the projects and for people to do certain things, because as you get involved with referencing the all is, and however creative way you do it, you start to become more aware and see beyond these personal things. Don't worry, you're still going to have them, because this world is going to bug you. And it's going to make sure that you're paying attention and you're distracted all the time. But again, you're given choices. You are the decider. So there's a little hint, Peter.
Right, okay, thanks very much for that.